Hey everybody, welcome back. We're out here at the ranch remodel, and I know we talked about the ceiling before it was made up there in the workshop, but it's been made in the workshop, it's been trucked down here, and it's been installed. So as you can see here above me, we have what I call a barrel vaulted coffered ceiling, right? Barrel vaulted in the fact that has this round shape to it, coffered meaning that it has these independent sections that are recessed into the ceiling here. So it's all a vertical grain Doug Fir. Believe it or not, the gentleman at the wood shop who just did a phenomenal job. Traditional Woodworks out of Berwick, Maine. Check out their work. Just a great team of guys to work with. They're ingenious about how they do things. But this ceiling was actually pre-made up in their shop, and it was made in 5 sections. So you can see we have these 5 separate vaults that literally got lifted into place, slid in, and locked in. And we're here. You can see the guys were putting up these final pieces of trim along the edge there to help tie that into the ceiling. Now, that's not a mistake. You can see it's held off the wall a little bit. There's actually a little shadow board in there, so if you were over there and looked up, you would see a board in there. But that relief is to match the relief that we have in the coffered itself. So, you know, like I said, I can't speak enough about these guys. They did a beautiful job. We have a couple of these last pieces of trim. We have an absolutely beautiful set of bookcases and fireplace mantle and stuff happening on that wall that once we get this ceiling fully in place, we'll start working on that. We'll work on this other wall here, and we'll bring you back and look at some more of the final finished pieces. But I wanted to throw out a quick video there and show you just what great work these guys are doing. So we'll jump back to the studio. We'll talk about this a little bit more in depth, and we'll go from there. So I'll see you back at the studio. Hey everybody. Welcome back to the studio. I hope you enjoyed that trip out there. That barrel vaulted ceiling is spectacular. And I'm not saying that because I designed it. I am saying it because of the privilege that I had to work with fine gents at Traditional Woodworks that were able to make that thought a reality. And man, when I say they exceeded it, they killed it. The homeowners couldn't be happier. It's everything that the clients thought it would be, and it is pretty darn spectacular. Anyways, let's dive into a couple of these drawings. We'll talk about the details, some of the thoughts, some of the ways we got there, and we'll press on. So let's take a look at these drawings. Alrighty, so broke out a few portions of the drawings there for that barrel vaulted ceiling. You can see basically this is half the ceiling here. Right, it would be a mirrored version on this side. Just wanted to show you that. There's those 4 bays. We would have those repeated 4 bays down this side. Last time we talked about, these are simply built up. They're 3 pieces of wood. So we have that thicker one as the base. We have the little shadow board inside, and then we have the thinner outer piece here that actually creates that little shadow inside there that traces around, and then that gets repeated down here in the detail at the wall. Well, a couple things. When they were building this and working with the fine gentleman at Traditional Woodworks there out of Berwick, Maine, we came up with the idea that we would build these in 5 panels. So as these go back, we have these 8x5 barrel vaulted panels that basically got lifted up and stuck into each other, and they're connected with a series of dominoes and such. But one of the issues that you have when you prefabricate things is I got to be able to get it into the space. So while this is actually shown, tight there, they actually cut it back here, and so we have about 1/4 of an inch of play on each side. So if the room was 15 foot, the panels came in at 11.5 inches. So there was a little bit of room there, but man, there wasn't a whole lot. But that means that we had to close it out. So any detail especially in the prefabrication of it, we have to make the ability to put it up, but then we need to be able to close off that 1/4 of an inch. So just taking cues from this, you know that my idea on sense of order and repetitive details. So taking that little bit of a shadow, we put a shadow board up against the wall, and then we covered it with a board that's a little longer. So you get that little reveal in there, and that little reveal is repetitive there, it's repetitive there, all along in that coffered ceiling. And that allowed for that ceiling to get pushed up in place, hung off the ceiling rafters there, and then we can come in later, put in these shadow boards, basically scribe them to that ceiling and close it all off. And then we end up with that beautiful ceiling in place. I can't say enough about the work the guys did at Traditional Woodworks, from, working with Dave back at the shop drawing level and working with his team in the shop to build, the right form. They had this 15-foot form where they bent those panels on there and glued all this stuff up together and basically built those panels as those 5 panels in the shop and then trucked them down. And then their fine gents worked on the install team of getting this thing in place. And when I say it's damn near perfect, it's damn near perfect. So hopefully you're as excited as I am about seeing that. I wish it was a ceiling in my house, but the clients are exceptionally happy. The wife client, this was her dream. From day one when I met her, she said, in the front living room, I want to have this barrel vaulted ceiling, some kind of coffered. She didn't know exactly what it was, but we exceeded her expectations. She is absolutely in love with that ceiling, and it does. It makes a spectacular statement. We have a few more tidbits out there. We have some bookcases to put in, some wall paneling, and nice fireplace mantle and stuff made all out of fir. Some of these details get repeated, but we have at least one trip back there where we'll go through that room and talk about how it came together all as one. But anyways, that's the barrel vaulted ceilings, my friend. So hope you enjoyed it. Alrighty, everybody. Big Red says goodbye. So hopefully you enjoyed that. That ceiling is just coming out spectacular. We have a few more tidbits to add to that room, and I gotta say it's probably going to be one of the finest rooms I've ever designed. So hopefully you enjoyed that video. Stay tuned, because we still have a little bit more to go in a couple of those rooms. So we'll definitely come back with the total finished video and finished product and talk about that. But until next time, go back, check out some of those other videos. I have some previous videos here on the Build Show. Check out my good buddies, Matt, Jake, Wade, Brent. They're all putting up some spectacular content there. So enjoy their stuff. If you're looking for even more information, you can find me on Instagram at Stephen Basic Architect. I post regularly there and try and serve the industry by putting up any knowledge that I gain along the way. Together we can build a better tomorrow. So, and then lastly, join Jake, Peter, and I every 2 weeks on Build It Podcast. We drop a new episode. We talk about building science. We talk about building. Occasionally we have some guests on there. We just had Matt from the Build Show on there. You can check out that episode. It was actually a really good episode. So, but we have a bunch of other guests coming on board there. Go check it out. But until next time, long live our buildings on the Build Show.